At around roughly 6 o'clock this evening, we were notified by the port through port security that they had a fire in a biodiesel tank. Upon our arrival, we found about 180,000 gallon, roughly 1,000-gallon tank, which had smoke showing, which had appeared to have some of its structural integrity that was already compromised. At this time, we have about 8 apparatus, about 40 firefighters, and the intel that we're getting currently is there's about 8 inches of biodiesel at the bottom of the tank, which is roughly between 55 and 60,000 gallons. Since our arrival, we started applying foam to the fire. On 1 or 2 occasions, we have lost some more of the tank. Some of the structural integrity is starting to collapse. It is collapsing in. The tank has a rigid top. During one of those integrity compromises, the tank split on the surface, which is allowing us to cascade foam down on top of the biofuel. They believe it to be palm oil based at this time, so currently we have about 1,900 gallons of foam on scene. Our calculations are telling us it's going to take anywhere between 3,200 to 3,500 gallons of foam. So currently we have requested mutual aid from Hillsborough County, City of Tampa, and we also have foam coming from the airport in Sarasota.
Can you describe the structure to us a little bit? Height, I mean, width, I don't know, just...
Like I said, I'm sorry, it's about 180,000 gallon tank, roughly about, I want to say it's probably 40 feet tall, and it's got it, from one side to the other, it's roughly probably about 80 or 90 feet across the top.
What is the challenge to getting to this? From what I had heard things on the scanner that said it was underneath a membrane.
Well, they have a rigid lid. They do have a rigid lid, so this way it's hard to get foam into the tank with the lid intact. Some of the newer tanks have what we also do is we can inject the foam into the bottom of the tank. This particular tank won't allow for that process to take place. So once the tank split on the top, this is allowing us to cascade foam. Currently, we've got a drone in place. We're watching it with the drone, and the application that we're applying right now currently is working. Other than it's just going to take between 3,300 and 3,500 gallons of foam to make that happen.
Sorry, I'm kind of coming in the middle of this. No, I'm sorry. Everyone okay
so
at
far?
This point? Everyone okay?
Okay.
And what's the possible effect on the environment? Is this leaking, getting into the water in any way, shape, or form?
No. Currently, it's intact. It's biodiesel. It's vegetable. It's palm oil. Okay. So, no immediate hazard to the environment. Nothing has escaped the tank at this point. So it's just going to be a long, drawn-out process. It takes time to get a lot of these assets here, so we can get everything in operation. We are currently flowing foam. Like I said, we have 1,900 gallons on scene. We're waiting for about another 1,500.
Any idea how this? No.
Not at the moment. No.
And how were you made aware of it?
Port security. Port security contacted us. Yes.
The firefighters had been asked to back off a little bit.
On the first collapse, when the integrity of the tank gave way immediately. Originally we backed off, got a better idea of what we were dealing with, and then now we're back in and we're applying foam.
You think this is going to be an all-night, all-day kind of thing, or are you looking at? I mean, how much fuel?
It's a possibility. It could take several hours.
Are you concerned at all with weather conditions? I understand there's supposed to be a line of storms coming through.
It's always a concern. I mean, anytime there's lightning and bad weather in the area, it could hinder our operation. It hurts our fire streams and things of that nature. So,
is this a refinery? Is this a filling place, or
they load fuel here? So biodiesel, gasoline, things like that.
But the area, the material that is on fire now is
biodiesel,
and that's palm oil.
Palm oil.
And kind of explain to us just how you have to attack this kind of fire. It's not like putting water on it.
It would be like a diesel fire. I mean, it's the same thing as a fuel fire. We put foam on it and put a blanket of foam over top of it. It interrupts the process, and eventually it'll go out.
How successful is that so far?
It's working. I mean, it just takes time. I mean, you have 55,000 gallons, roughly between 55 and 60,000 gallons of biodiesel in a tank that's 90 feet across and 180,000 gallons. So it takes a while to get enough foam on top of that to blanket.
Well, how many units out here?
Currently about 9.
Heat issues, concerns for firefighter safety with that kind of heat around?
No, sir. We have rehab set up. We're giving them fluids. We're rotating them through. It's really not it's just a labor-intensive process. It's really not something where they're working strenuously for long periods of time.
It's just kind of a monitoring situation that you kind of have to let it almost burn itself out.
Not burn itself out. We're trying to put it out by applying a blanket of foam on top of it.
And is this near any other chemicals that could be flammable?
There's several
or
other
come up?
tanks in the area. There's a diesel tank and a gasoline tank in the area, but currently we're not concerned with that getting to those tanks.
And is that what the EMS car was for? What you mentioned with the
They come out for
fluids?
they come out for rehab.
For the rehab.
Rehab.
Okay.
Yep. We cycle through. They check our vital signs, make sure we're drinking enough water, fluids.
How long
make
have
sure
you been
we're
fighting it so far? When did the first come?
Roughly around. Excuse me. It was about 7:15. About 7:15.